This is Call of Duty World War II. We're on PlayStation 5, taking a look at the game on the platform because, well, I generally have it available. So with that, we're getting a dynamic 4K resolution. It should actually be hitting, you know, somewhat close to that native 4K mark at this point in time at 60 FPS with HDR support. And yeah, it's just kind of this really intense, gritty take on, well, World War II. It's kind of crazy, it's kind of nuts, and we'll be showing off each aspect of the experience, starting with the campaign here, and then kind of making our way over to the multiplayer and the zombies as well, so that you can see each of them in action and see how they're running. But yeah, you get this kind of beautiful blend of these intense, stunning cinematic moments from Sledgehammer here, and then, you know, you also get that sort of really different, gritty, intense take on Call of Duty action. It was a nice return to boots on the ground, and I think they really, you know, kind of hit the mark in doing something really good. And it was a lot of fun to play this. I think it was very well done experience-wise. You know, the story was interesting, neat characters. I don't know how memorable the characters are, but it was definitely a neat setup with them all trying to, you know, deal with the situation and stuff like that, storming the beach and then going through all of these different fronts. You know, it was definitely unique. Can I get some health somewhere? Jeez. I don't know, I definitely found it engaging. Of course, they have different difficulty options too, if you want different types of challenges along the way. It's just a very different entry because they kind of, like, you know, obviously we've got non-regenerating health. We actually gotta get, like, health packs and stuff, which kind of makes me wonder how well we're gonna get through here. Thank you very much for that. I've been kind of wanting it for a while. But yeah, you know, it's definitely a very dynamic, intense, and just, like, really crazy looking, you know, experience in the series. I mean, look at this. It's just so, it's really quite gorgeous. And then secondly, you know, just the intense action kind of going on, the gritty play of it, the death, the, you know, the over-the-topness of it. It's very much your typical sort of linear Call of Duty experience. It was just really cool because it was so different from the weird futuristic stuff we had been experiencing for, you know, quite a number of years at this point. So it was cool to see something so different and a return to boots on the ground combat, which was cool because we were, you know, I didn't know if they would actually ever go back to this sort of setup, so it was very interesting from that perspective. Oh wait, they're bombing it. Are we going? We are going. Okay. Turning around. You know, you just get a great sense of scale too within the campaign. I thought the levels were neat, you know, definitely. I don't know if they were necessarily anything unique in terms of campaign, you know, from places we haven't been in other shooters or within this franchise as well, but it felt very refreshing overall is the main takeaway. It just felt like a really new experience despite being something that we have, you know, gameplay-wise felt before. And that was particularly the case when you look at the multiplayer. For me, was a bigger part of that, for sure. But the campaign itself was, you know, I thought fairly engaging and just really intense, you know, quite gory, quite visceral. Doesn't hold back on any of the crazy moments, that's for sure. And it felt a lot less, I think, like a shooting gallery, more like an actual place where you're right in the thick of this, like, insane war that's going on. Just wild. And hopefully, you know, from the odd time to time, I do wish that we would see, like, more entries in the series that aim to do something like this as well. I think that would be good. You know, historical campaigns are fun, and it seems like they pulled it off in the modern era fairly decently. At least I think so. This one's just kind of nuts. So you're, you know, you've got your group of soldiers, and you're kind of working along, doing different, you know, scenarios during the war and all that. Did we not clear the bunker? I thought we had cleared the bunker pretty successfully. Yeah, we cleared it. Okay, whatever. You know, it's just kind of like you got your squad and you see their journey across these fronts, and yeah, it's not great for anyone, but you know, you do the best you can, right? It's a little bit wild. Maybe we can, like, or is this like a teaching moment where it's like you're learning about smoke? Yeah, don't want to keep using this. I want a submachine gun. Unbelievable, am I right? Yeah, definitely one wild thing. I hope like you're kind of getting an idea of how it's running here with this part, because this is sort of like an epic, you know, moment in any sort of World War game, is doing the whole storming the beach situation, am I right? It's just kind of crazy, and then obviously the bunker clearing that follows that sort of situation is also kind of intense. Like, you guys are friendly? It's like you're just watching them come in here and like shoot at me. It's kind of nuts for sure, right? Anyways, I think the campaign's definitely still worthwhile, and it's definitely unique. And I think with that, we're going to swap over and show off another part of the experience at this time. You know, so you can see more of it in action, because it's more than just a stunning World War II campaign experience. Ugh. This is the zombies portion of the game, just on the first level here, because I don't have access to any of the DLC. But yeah, it was a very different sort of set zombies with our cast of characters here dealing with this gritty, messed up sort of area. And yeah, tonally it was just right on brand with the rest of the game, being one crazy, messed up looking, grotesque experience where you had to deal with these messed up like situations, and then there was like some weird boss type things in this one I didn't quite like, but I thought overall the zombies was neat. I just never really played past the, you know, kind of the first level of it. I didn't play any of the DLC stuff, because I wasn't really, well, I didn't get anything to review for it, so I never really checked it out. I was just like, eh. It's kind of like a little bit not as into the zombie craze as I had been back in the day. Okay, that's great. But you do get some neat like power abilities in this one. There is like a whole leveling system in it as well. So they definitely tried to mix it up and do something a little bit different gameplay-wise. Of course, a lot of the traditional elements are here in terms of, like, you know, you got your power-ups, you got your rounds, you've got the different areas that you're opening, you've got, you know, perks to buy. And they were a little bit different, the perks as well. And then you gotta work as a squad, you can play solo if you want, you know, there's just lots of different options here. But they did try to do some slightly different things, and I don't know how memorable this particular zombies is in the long term, but, you know, it was kind of cool. It was vibing in terms of the design of it and some of the hidden secrets and stuff that you do within the game. I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know if these guys are, like, trying to keep zombies alive. That might be a thing. I don't know if they're respawning or anything like that. Oh, they're definitely coming. But yeah, it was also cool because it was something a little bit more, I guess you could say, throwback-ish to a degree in terms of being open, not as closed off, but again, very tight spots you had to deal with. But you still got a little bit more freedom for going around the environment and tackling situations. Bit of a sinister lab going on. You know, typical zombie stuff, right? It was just like a very different sort of look visually for it, which was kind of cool. I definitely had like a decent amount of fun, you know, kind of working on this with friends and stuff over the years, that's for sure. Well, maybe not over the years, but you know, at least for as well as this game was kind of going around there, we were having some fun playing some of the zombies here and trying to get some of the higher rounds, but I don't think we ever necessarily really, you know, kind of hit the mark. Oh, wow, zombie scary. We gotta level up here. There we go, zombie dead. Anybody else want to die? Yeah, they definitely do some wild things with this one in terms of the setting and stuff. It's kind of cool. I mean, a decent zombie challenge as well as you're shooting down the undead. Just a lonely generator out there. Oh yeah, and then you go down on the bridge area and stuff. That was fun. Yeah, they definitely did some weird things with the setup on this. Zombies just coming out of the ground like crazy. Like I said, if you've never played this, you know, the underground area is just like some wild factory area. It's all like just nuts looking. Like the detail and stuff in the game looks really cool too. I quite like that, you know, just it's got such a neat aesthetic that's going on here. Not enough jolts, and you've got your set characters and We want to go directly down into the location, but whoa. Oh yeah, we can just like go under here right away. You actually got to get into the crazy factory. That's always the fun of zombies, though. For me, is like trying to figure out what's going on and stuff. And yeah, it's just like I never liked the special zombies. That's when they always lose me when they add like weird special type infected things. It's not something I particularly love. Whoa, it's like I'm going into a Fallout vault. But yeah, it gets a little bit more wild the more sections that you rode into, and it's got that full Nazi zombie sort of style and aesthetic, and of course weird weapons, and yeah, no, I mean, it's zombies, right? Like it's very, very typical. They all try to include it and do something a little bit differently with it, right? I think Sledgehammer's effort was cool enough, perhaps not enough to keep me fully interested in it, but definitely enough to have a good time running around and shooting some zombies with some friends when we were playing it. Oh wow, how exciting. Free Fire. Yeah, definitely, it's like it's weird because it's got like those arcadey elements of like the Free Fire and stuff, but at the same time, you know, it's so like graphically sort of aiming to be a little bit more realistic. It's a neat balance, that's for sure. And the setting was kind of cool. Again, like the weird story element of it, really for zombies, is not necessarily my thing, and that's where they always lose me, is when they try to do those elements more and more. Try to help out the team the best I can here. Uh-oh. Actually kind of a little powerful of a burst thing going on here. But I think we'll now switch over to the multiplayer component of the game, because I'm sure people have been, you know, wanting to see that in action for sure. This is the multiplayer component of the experience. We just threw on good old Shipment for some intense, fast-paced action, so we can talk about the multiplayer and showcase it in action. So yeah, we got a lot more traditional map setups, some interesting modes in this one. They definitely went for something a little bit more objective focused, which I definitely appreciated. So that was mostly with the idea of war, where you're kind of pushing, you know, the objective, you're trying to build stuff, you're trying to get, you know, kind of moving forward on the map. I thought that was really interesting. And they've got a few modes that try to do that, while also having, you know, the traditional Call of Duty mode options as well. And doing their own little spin on Shipment, which seems to be quite a staple for the companies to do, is, you know, throwing back in these small nostalgic maps and doing like 24/7 playlists on them, and eventually it becomes permanent, and that's just the way it is. So, you know, traditionally, as always, you're doing classes, you're customizing your character stuff, you know. This one is a little bit different because you're doing like divisions. They tried to... I'm dying a whole lot in this one. Sorry, I don't have like any classes on this platform. Like I was saying, you know, you're kind of like picking this like division that you're a part of, and you're leveling up and prestiging that way, and then on top of that, you're like in this headquarters area at the beginning. It's like this weird social hub, and I'm assuming it wasn't necessarily a huge hit because we haven't really seen it return in the later Call of Duty games, at least not in that style. But yeah, it's definitely something a little bit different when it comes to the gameplay mechanics, and even though it's World War II, you know, as the game progressed and they started adding weird things to it, it became more and more silly, as you saw that guy with like a Grim Reaper kind of thing kind of sticking out of his back, because that was authentic, just like colorful guns and that. But it's, you know, it's still relatively like a gritty Call of Duty title, and it seems to have a decent amount of player base still sort of available here to actually find a match, you know, somewhat quickly, I guess, which is, you know, not the worst situation in the world to be in. Oh jeez, yeah. And it's just kind of cool because it's like, again, like that whole boots on the ground thing is just so refreshing, because it was far less silly than, you know, a lot of the Call of Duty titles that had kind of preceded it when it came to the style of play and everything. They had like a fun little Army Man gun mode too that was kind of fun, a little bit different. But yeah, they definitely tried to do some unique change-ups to make it a little bit more of a social competitive experience, and yeah, I think they kind of hit the mark in that regard. I played quite a fair bit of it. I actually prestiged and stuff in it. And yeah, I just didn't necessarily fully go into all the Call of Duty games because I never have as much time these days. And I am getting absolutely just decimated out here with this crap-tacular gun. Do I have any other options? Let's see. Resistance, the grease gun. Like, what kind of garbage is this? Ugh. Like bare bone stuff. Super authentic pink guns on the Shipment battlefield. I don't know, I like the style of it. I like the teamwork. It seemed like people that I played with were a lot more into it, and they hadn't been into a Call of Duty game in a long time, so that was kind of fun. Especially War Mode, which we'll actually switch to after a little bit of this, so we can show that off in style. Because I think that one is definitely a worthwhile part of playing the experience, you know, not normally just doing deathmatch. I'm a lot more of an objective player. Oh, well, this is a perfect place to switch over to the War Mode. Okay, cool. This is the War Mode, so this is kind of an interesting take and spin on the concept, because classically War in Call of Duty is a back and forth sort of position pushing game, at least in the older ones as a game mode. In this one it's like an attack and defend style, so we're sort of defending at this point, the other team is attacking, we're trying to hold this down. There's a light level of building to the game as well in terms of like fortifying spots and building like a bridge to get across. It's quite cool. And again, very well done. I do find it genuinely to be an interesting addition to the franchise, and it's a shame that other Call of Duty games haven't done something similar since, because yeah, it's just kind of a wild play on the formula that we kind of know. It just really did something that I'm trying to think of another similar mode in the Call of Duty franchise, but nothing's really quite coming to mind to the degree that they were doing co-op actions in this one. It was just really quite cool. Yeah, just imagine if we had that ground war, but you're actually like pushing objectives back and forth. Like ground war as in Modern Warfare's ground war is what I'm thinking of, because I think that would be quite fascinating, that large-scale kind of battle. Seeing that guy there? Killing that guy there. Nice. But yeah, just gritty, dark, combative, epic action. The whole package kind of comes together in a really good way. I genuinely did enjoy, you know, what they delivered here in terms of doing something unique within the Call of Duty franchise, and also doing something a little bit old, because it kind of brought us back to the franchise's roots, which is kind of cool, because it had been a while since we had this sort of firmly boots on the ground sort of combat. And you know, it got a good amount of updates. It got its traditional DLC packs, and then they kind of switched up the Call of Duty formula further after that, and now we're in a premium, but then kind of also freemium era of Call of Duty action, which is cool. And it should be neat to see if we're ever getting another Sledgehammer effort in, because it was nice to have their efforts where they were actually wanting to do something a little bit different with the series, and I think that was a breath of fresh air at the time, quite honestly. Down you go, yeah. And I don't mind the World War action, you know. It's good to have variety as well, instead of being stuck with, like, the same sort of scenarios over and over again. Oh, wow, the Monster Dome is getting ridiculous. And, you know, it's still quite a lot of fun. And I hope you're getting an idea of the back and forth. Like, this checkpoint here isn't the best one, but, like, there's one where we're, like, at a bridge next. Yeah, here we go. See, we've got to, like, hold off this bridge, and they've got to attack and kind of push us back. I just thought that element of it was kind of cool. So you gotta like go up there and hold it back, and yeah, it's just kind of fun. Oh yeah, we're on the retreat. Oh no, I shouldn't have come this way. What have I done? Yeah, it's very strictly set though, because the idea is it's supposed to be like a push back and forth on this bridge, which can get really crazy. Usually there's like a lot of smoke grenades, a lot of bullet damage, people camping houses. It gets really nuts, you know. It's just like a wild time for sure. And then you go back to like a further spot, and then there's like a church, and it was just like, it was fascinating because it was so different. It was pushing people to actually work together to get stuff done. And they had a couple different maps like this, and I think the concept just blown up further would be really epic for future, you know, Call of Duty games. But anyways, I hope that gave you an idea generally of World War II in action from the the campaign, where you've got this gripping sort of story of war during a particular era that's trying to be more historical. The zombies, where it's gritty and it's slightly different, but very familiar to what we know. And then, of course, this multiplayer component here, where it just had some really cool, unique setups that I thought were a lot of fun and really different. And yeah, I just kind of had a lot of fun playing this back in the day with friends and stuff, you know, playing actually war. I got them into Call of Duty again for a bit. And it's always neat that the franchise keeps occasionally coming up with something, you know, different for us to try and enjoy.